I don't want to offend any of my drummers in my band. So I'm going to be very careful with this. Yeah, I'm going to tread lightly. But
Hey, what's up, everybody? Today's podcast, we got Brian. Brian is a really cool friend of mine, and he's going to be on the podcast show. And it's just kind of fun because we're going to get a bass player's inside view of what it's like to find that, to really peel back some layers to find that perfect drummer. We're going to talk drum mixes, we're going to talk sound, we're going to talk all kinds of stuff about drums in this episode right here coming up with Brian Trusow. Just want to welcome everybody to the Outlaw Process podcast show. And today I got some really very, very special dear friends of mine on the show today. Brian and Ben. How's it going, guys?
How's it going?
Good.
I appreciate y'all being on the show, and music is so important, right? Anytime that you bring musicians together, it really just something special happens, don't it?
Yeah.
It definitely, something special always happens.
It's part of my life, so
yeah.
Just throw that out there,
Yeah.
And lately I've been doing all the sound for his bands and stuff, so it's been good.
So tell me about y'all's music story. Like, what's going on, like, musically? What's happening?
Well, I have a couple different projects going, and, I got Commerce Child with Matthew Williams, and got Brad Gilliard in it, and Richard Day. We just play all over the place. We got a few originals out, and we stay really busy. I mean, hell, last weekend, are we allowed to cuss on your show?
Hey, real life.
Real
life?
Yes.
Because that just might come out. Because sometimes we get a little colorful,
But, yeah. And then he's also got 95 with...
95, I love those
yeah.
guys. They play a lot of, like, 90s rock, alternative.
90s party music.
Yeah.
And, Greg's one of the head nurses up at Phoebe. And he's got a lot of friends, and it's always fun getting with those guys. It's a party.
You ready to come to bring it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ben,
oh my God.
Ben, my son, he's been doing sound for both bands, and he's just tearing it up.
Yeah. I mean, I literally started just after I got out of the military, and when I first started using like the QSC board that we got, it took me a while to learn how to adjust everything and, get what I wanted out of it. But right now, I have learned got to the point where everything's on the fly. I can get everyone sound checked on stage, run out in the crowd, and have it set by the first song.
Wow. That takes a lot. These daggone dogs, man. You hear these jokers? They don't know the chord. They just...
Yeah.
Get in here right now.
Come on, Matt.
Sit down and don't say a word.
You want to know what's going on, bud? You gotta know.
Yeah. But I mean, I've been around his music since I've been super little. I mean, I remember the first band that I can remember is Bad Influence, and then I remember a band he had named Azrock, which was a really cool band, and stuff like that. So I've always been around his music, but this is the first time that I've been involved in his music. Yeah. So it's a really
have
cool.
A hand in it.
Yeah.
Because you've been hearing music, a long time. Brian, how much experience do you got playing? When did you start?
If I told you, then people would know how old I was. But it's been a long time. So,
man.
And we'll just say it's plus 20 years.
Wow.
So I'm pretty much a journeyman. I love doing things like coming by your place and jamming with you.
Yeah. We jam all the time, man. We come in there and we'll go into a jam session. Brian, I got this drum I want to try out.
Yeah.
Come over and, man, we'll hit it off and, just get into a jam session. I love it, man. That's what music does, man. It brings people together.
Yeah.
For sure.
Nice thing is, he's always got a bass on hand ready to roll.
Ready. All you do is just grab it.
Is it a 5-string?
No, he's missing that part of it, but that's okay.
But
Just a little jam get together. So
yeah.
So, listen, I got a question. So, you deal with a lot of different types of drummers. All the experience that you've got playing in different bands, you've run into you meet a lot of different types of drummers and different drummers, don't you?
right. Oh yeah.
So, for a drummer standpoint, what do you look for? Like, what's the perfect drummer? What is that drummer to being like, yes?
So I don't want to offend any of my drummers in my band. So I'm going to be very careful with this. Yeah, I'm going to tread lightly. But I really like a consistent drummer, So if, say we play one song a certain way and the breaks in the song, I like somebody that's mentally just can really, do that again. Remember that part in that song and do that again. Because that's what I do. I like to do it again, If you play a song a certain way, them breaks and them parts to ending and everything like that. If me and the drummer are in there doing the same thing, it's really, really good. And, I don't like a fancy drummer. I like somebody that's more in the pocket.
More in the pocket.
So.
You hear that a lot. Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times drummers are working on speed, they're working on feel. How fast can kind of do 3 rolls in that clip?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm a fan of Neil Peart, but I don't want to see a drummer come in and set up 5 toms and
They're
2
like,
floor
"Ooh,
toms.
I'm
And,
looking at you funny.
Yeah.
I'd rather him come in and play with 2 toms, a rack tom and a floor tom and a snare. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's then I feel a little safer. I'm like, okay, he can probably get that roll on around and bring it right back in time, So, but and most drummers I play with are like that now,
Yeah.
I got a drummer in '95. He plays with electronic drums. I didn't like it at first, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
When I first heard about the
Electronic.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What is happening here?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like
They to me, it's not the same. But
yeah.
you know,
It takes away from me from stage presence.
I really
Like-
prefer acoustic drums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the acoustic drums. It just sets the stage. It's like
So-
a center point of that stage.
Yeah.
I mean,
How do you record? It's the feel of it. It just really baffles me with electronic drums.
it's really quiet on the stage. It's
Yeah.
When you hit it, it's going to be the same. To an
Yeah.
extent,
Well, you have to. They really have to have an expensive set of drums because it can't, just like, and then
It sounds so like
so
processed.
Yeah.
Almost too perfect.
yeah.
yeah. It's literally. If you hit it in the electric in the middle, it's gonna give you one sound, but from like you hit it on the outside and it's not giving you that same sound and that you want.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was
So I personally own a outlaw snare drum. So, but I've
curly-
yet.
Heart Pine one.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
yes.
use the crap out of it too.
Ben plays a lot, but I have yet to let any of the drummers play on it.
Yeah, I set it up in our in the woodshed, and I actually been learning how to play drums lately. So I've learned a couple beats, but I got a lot of progression to do still. So
Sweet, man. I tell you though, when you learn the sound, learn how things supposed to sound, I almost feel like it will kind of govern your playing when you start doing it to become a really amazing player because that's why I feel like studio drummers that are always hearing themselves getting played back, you can start hearing things.
Yeah.
And you start practicing that time space and
right.
how it has to be locked in,
Yeah, so since I started playing drums, I've always picked up the bass and the guitar and stuff and try to play. Not that good at it, but ever since I started playing drums, my rhythm and my timing has gotten a lot better with the other instruments. Just because that's what drums are. They are the rhythm and the timing and the stuff. So it's really good. So
Yeah.
So I'd like to say thank you for having us on your podcast.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. Excited
we're-
for y'all to be here.
We're gonna definitely return the favor.
Yeah.
to-
I want to be on y'all's show.
Yeah.
I was so inspired when I heard y'all started a podcast show.
Exactly.
How can people find it?
Well, it's Intoxicated Logic Talks.
Intoxicated Logic.
Yeah.
Talks.
So intoxicated. So do you have to have a beer when you show up? Or is
You
it-
have to be intoxicated logic,
To do the pod-
intoxicated to be on the show.
Yeah. I mean, but we
That's
get
one of the rules. But
yeah, I'm a liquor drinker. I'm more liquor, but if the other person likes beer, they can have beer too.
beer's
but,
fine.
Beer's fine, but preferably
Yeah.
liquor. Which,
Eh.
hey, I'm definitely a liquor drinker.
So, our actual second one's come out today, which is what's the date today? Because-
Today's Friday. Every Friday at 10 a.m. it'll be out.
Yeah.
The new episodes come out. It's on YouTube and it's on Anchor FM.
We'll
Okay,
try to get you where you can hook up a link or something to it. You know.
Yes, absolutely. I definitely want to put that link in this podcast link.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Continue
that definitely and
Yeah.
favors back
And
and
we're
forth.
gonna
Yes.
we're gonna link you up, and then too, you know, we want to help you promote these awesome drums you build.
Oh,
man.
thank you, man.
I mean, you do a wonderful thing. You got such a creative mind. I mean, look at this drum. I mean, come on. Are you kidding me? That looks like the side of a tree, don't it? And I want to know how you cut that tree so perfectly and carved it out.
Yeah, man. I appreciate y'all being on here, man.
Yeah.
For one thing, what is the thing that that you dislike about a drummer more so? Like one of the things that's like, oh my gosh,
Pet
please
peeve.
don't do that. Don't do that ever.
I'm going to have to say that's a good question. I mean, I'm going to, you know,
I got it.
yeah.
You want me to tell? I got you.
No, because I'm answering the question. You can answer the question the way you want to,
All right, go ahead.
but I don't like to be bullshitted. You know, that's one thing. And to be a crappy person is another thing. I mean, we had a drummer in the band one time. He was a great drummer, but he treated everybody around him like crap. I mean, he just was not a happy person, I guess. And then too, also, I just don't like a drummer to be too busy, you know. And if he's behind the kit, I don't want him to be too busy,
Yeah.
you know. Like I said,
Keep it simple.
yeah, keep it simple.
Yeah.
Simplicity is a great thing, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, if you can do it and pull it off, which there's very few drummers that can, but you know,
Yeah, but you gotta be really. People they want to be on that next expert level.
Yeah.
Really fast.
and then too,
More
I hate
rewards,
somebody. I hate a drummer that wants to play the same beat for every song. You know,
Yeah.
boom, bap, boom, bap, boom. You know,
One that's not very versatile.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you're just jamming, that's fine. You know, but you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta learn your craft. You
gotta
know.
learn it.
You know, and there's a lot of drummers out there that just get some basic things down, and that's what they go with. You know,
Because the bass player and the drums, they're married.
Yeah.
They're married.
Oh,
and you can, if he wants to go crazy on that kick drum, it's gonna have to put you in like an up frantic mood too, because now you gotta do something on that, especially if y'all haven't
Rehearse and
rehearsed
practice
You're
it.
just
Yeah,
trying it out, you know.
Yeah, but I think a drummer that speeds up and slows down is a horrible,
Speed
horrible
slows
thing.
down, yeah.
Like if they can't that
Yep.
song, they they get the count at the beginning of the song, but then by the middle of the song, it's a little bit slower, and then at the end of the song, back to normal speed.
Mhm.
It really messes with him. I tell you,
Yeah.
And then the drummer that overuses cymbals.
Yeah.
Cymbal use is a very easy overused, like abused.
It needs to be something kind of like spectacular, not something that you hit on every single every single time.
Yeah.
It needs to hold a difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you want to go that route, you can hear that that emphasis.
Exactly.
You know, cymbals are some of the hardest things to even get sounding good through mics. They just bleed out everything.
Yeah, I mean, so as a sound guy, and as me running sound, I've never mic'd cymbals. Cymbals always come through so good. I mean, of course, I ain't never done a
like professional
arena sound, but the singers' mics and the backup singers' mics, and all the mics that you might have on stage will pick up those cymbals.
Yeah.
And because those cymbals are loud.
Yeah.
And so you really don't have to mic your cymbals too much. And even in recording purposes, you probably shouldn't record your drums with your cymbals hooked up.
Yeah.
You should dub your your cymbals in, because it'll interfere with everything else, I mean, of course, you could go ahead and record your hi-hat and stuff like that, but
the hi-hat's a one.
The crashes and especially the chinas,
The chinas.
But the ride and the hi-hat, that's a different story, mic your hot ride, and maybe put something where you can catch the ride a little bit, because those cymbals tend to be a little bit quieter than the crashes and chinas.
That's
and
my
stuff like
my
that.
pet peeve too, is the drummer just being too loud. And I know that's what drummers do. They want to hit stuff and feel good about it. But hitting stuff too hard, breaking stick. I mean, I love breaking sticks too. Now there ain't nothing like getting into a jam session and looking at your sticks afterwards. You're like, it almost broke. Because there's something about when you break a drumstick as a drummer, man. It's like So Brian, tell me a little bit about. I want to know a little bit about your history with woodworking and some of the things that you do as far as that can actually help you with playing music. Because there's something about building something. There's something about building something, a physical thing, and then there's something about building a musical thing. How it's just you can get so satisfied with that kind of stuff.
Well, I started framing just building houses when I started off with woodwork, but I learned just about anything there was to do about wood just doing that. And in the last 12 to 14 years, I've been working building custom furniture. So, and everything I learned in my years before that went into what I knew, what I do with wood now. And so we basically, me and you, we kind of use the same kind of wood. I use heart pine to build furniture with, and build tables, dressers, beds, just a lot of stuff. So I've actually built guitars before. I mean, nothing too fancy, but
But you have an understanding with the work.
Yeah.
That's what I love about you, because I always would, if I had any kind of questions about woodworking, we'd always kind of do the woodworking thing out there in the shop and trying to, different ideas, kind of, you talk among your buddies, with, that have common interests, especially woodworking. You can kind of talk about, what do you think about this? You think this would work, or you think that would work, or,
Exactly. I mean, I'm totally amazed at what you do. So, and you show that same interest in what I do. So, it's a mutual thing. It's just like a musician thing. I'm loving what you're doing. You're loving what I'm doing. As a musician, it's the same thing. If you got friends in music that get along like that, you can make some beautiful music. I mean, just musicians that get along as friends make good musicians, make good bands. Good music together.
Good vibrations, man.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's all vibrations, I feel like, and it's all good. They resonate well together. Some notes sound good better when they're together.
You know,
Chords.
Worst thing I hate about making friends and doing music is when sometimes when people just are tired of and they want to get out of it, they just kill their friendship. All of a sudden, I've played with so many people that all of a sudden I don't talk to no more because
Well, how do you keep a friendship together when a band splits up? What do you do then?
It's a hard thing because sometimes they don't want to know. And I feel that way sometimes too. If I've quit a band or if I left a band,
I think I don't want to call Joe, man.
I see this band doing really good and I'm not in it no more. I kind of feel there's a little feeling there you get in the pit of your stomach. Wow, I could have been doing that with them,
Yeah.
But and I'm because I've always just moved on. So, and I'm sure that plays part of the friendship thing. They don't want to see what you're doing. They don't want you rubbing it in, what you're doing,
Yeah.
And I understand that, part of it. It's a funny thing. I don't want to call it jealousy or anything. It's just that, people, some musicians just don't like to see other musicians do well,
That is a fact. They're almost kind of like a hater, aren't they? They're almost kind of like a hater.
Yeah.
It's almost like I'm not going to be able to get things going, and I don't know. Do you know a lot of people like that?
I do know a few like that. I've known a few people that quit a band that I was in. I used to be pretty hard. I've loosened up a lot lately because now I will have a drink when I'm playing or something.
Before you wouldn't?
No, before I would. And I
well, you've gotten a lot. I mean, you've matured. You can handle it now. Sometimes people can't. Sometimes alcohol, man, they can put a lot of
there's
a lot of energy going on, and you've got to. If you can't handle it, you can't handle it.
Yeah. And there's been a few times where people couldn't handle it. Now I've had drummers. I've had drummers that you look back, they're holding down an awesome beat, and you're just grooving along, and you look back there, and they got a beer in each hand, and they're just playing away.
How you playing?
Mark Bartle.
But it's sounding good.
I swear I've seen that before. I had a drummer in a band called Dead Ducks, and Mark Barnado, he's passed on, but he was a awesome drummer. Double kick, two big. He was one of them drummers that he'd bring in a 7-piece drum kit, but he could play every one of them, And he was more about flash, than anything else, but he could play.
Yeah.
Those things were bright yellow.
Bright yellow.
And it didn't. It was better for him to drink a lot, because then he started having way more fun and just, sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes people drink and they get drunk and they can't do nothing.
Facts. And some people, it's almost like they have to drink to play drums at a show. Like I knew some people that they had to have a few drinks before they could get loosened up, before they can go with it.
I'm getting to where I gotta have at least a drink before I can play here lately. So it's probably old age.
It helps settle the tremors down.
Yeah, that would always kind of nerve-wracking playing in front of people. It really was. So tell me, you've been doing a little bit of recording yourself, I hear.
So you hooked me up with a little garage band.
I did.
thing, and I got a couple tracks done already, and it's only been a week.
Dude, it's so fun, isn't it? You can get in that creative zone, and you can create your stuff.
I got a learning curve to do on it still because some of the beats are just straight drum beats, and I ain't doing anything fancy, and gotta learn a couple things. But you can ask Ben here. I got a couple
riffs kicking, huh?
Yeah.
You know what I've been doing here lately? It's been weird. Like, as soon as I wake up I'll go and the first thing I'll do, like, as soon as I wake up, I'll go sit on the computer and listen to, and hear a track or come up with a beat or a rhythm. Just see what I come up with. Just trying to do, just 5 seconds of something
Yeah.
that I can do, and then I'll come back to it. And I'm gonna tell you that creativity, as soon as you wake, because you're not all there yet. Your consciousness is still kind of wake up, but it can create some very unique stuff too. I've been messing around with that because my stuff's kind of starting to sound the same. I'm like, all right, what I need to do here? Kind of.
The good thing is, I told Ben we're gonna write our own tracks for our podcast. Right now. So intoxicated Logic Talks. We took our name from an old band of mine, Intoxicated Logic, and we got 2 albums out. Intoxicated Logic does, and that's Mike Burrows and Bill Goodwin, and a couple other people are on the tracks. KT McCain. Anyway, we're using their music on our podcast right now, and they have a lot of good music. So, but I want to eventually, have our own.
Hey, y'all can use any of my music. I got definitely free for you to use.
Awesome. Yeah, that'd be great.
I got a bunch of little tracks I've been messing with. Some of them are good.
We gotta come up with like an opener, the opening music and stuff.
I want to show you a little thing on this right here. I'm telling you, man. The more you do this, it's gonna get easier and easier, and you're gonna be able to start focusing more on the creative instead of how to use it. Then you're really gonna start adding.
Exactly.
It's that copy and paste. Like get these little bars down, copy those bars, paste them on that little bar, and just kind of knowing how to read that diagram right there, and knowing where to put those points at on that other beat, man. It's just getting it sound good. But yeah. So original music contest. We're holding an original music contest. Did you know about that? To win a snare.
I think I've read something about it, and I don't have any original music, but I do now.
What about Matt? Dude, you with a bunch of bands that play.
Oh, Matt, that's original.
So
down to
you
the
think
river?
we could?
Down to the river is an amazing.
Because here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna over our Patreons. They got a group of people. We're gonna judge it. All the original stuff has to be your song, and their winner of that, we're gonna narrow it down to like 5 contestants, and then we're gonna randomly select them.
Okay.
And so I think it would be really cool.
What's gonna be the grand prize?
A snare drum, that one with the bottle caps on it.
Oh snap!
Okay. Yeah.
You remember?
I seen.
You remember Amy Lane?
Yeah.
She put the bottle caps on it for me. She did all the pretty stuff. Like I made the shell, and she did all that.
Yeah.
And she's made a guitar, and so we're gonna start really trying to push them suckers.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, I know Amy.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Super cool.
I've seen that drum. It looks cool as anything.
Yeah. Yeah. She did all that, man, putting all that stuff on there, and I did the shell, and then she came and tied all that in.
She bedazzled it.
Bedazzled it. So, I got another question. So, being that you play with a lot of different types of, we're talking about drummers and stuff like that. So what about like the guitar player and stuff? Is it like nerve-wracking when you're trying to learn, when you're going into like a bass, like you're fixing to audition for a band, right? Do you kind of try to sync up with the drummer first? Or do you try to sync up with the guitar player? Like when you go and you're like, because you got to have an alliance. Do you go to that drummer, or do you go to that to the guitar player?
If you just met them, you really ain't got nobody. You're going in blind. If you just met them, you're just gonna go in there and do your thing. You'll know right away if the drummer's good, because if that kick drum is solid, to me a good solid kick drum is gold.
Yeah.
Because then I know exactly where my
that's your count
beat,
right there.
And that exactly what my beat's gonna be. It really doesn't matter with guitar players unless the drummer is not doing the fills for the changes, and then you gotta listen to more of the guitar. Sometimes drummers just don't do every little change. Because there's, as a drummer. There's a beat, and then there's a to change.
Mm-hmm.
It's It's a little finesse.
But if you can
thing.
get a drummer, you can get them endings right. Like you get the endings of the song. A lot of times you can kind of, you know how drummers they'll go to start on an ending. You know, doom 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 doom. You know,
Oh, yeah.
when they can get that kind of,
Oh,
then
yeah.
they can end almost any song. But
Yeah.
sometimes, even I kind of struggle with that last little spot. Sometimes I put it in the wrong spot and not being able to end. You know, because there's always going to be a first time that you jam. I don't care whether
drummers
there's always a
that'll
first
actually
time.
end a song. I've played with drummers that wanted to play 15 minutes on one song, and I'm like, okay.
Take a breath.
What do you do when
This
we're trying to tidy it up? Like, all right, come on, because you don't want to, you know, tell them.
Sometimes I'll start slowing down, you know, and then that's a good sign that, you know, okay, you know, and I'm not talking about slow down gradually. I mean quickly slow down.
Yeah.
You know, and then that usually a good drummer is like, oh, okay, let's end the song.
Yeah.
You know, so or start getting quieter. You know.
Well, who's your favorite drummer?
My favorite drummer?
Yeah. Who's your favorite drummer? It's nice to see a bass player's favorite drummer because a lot of time it ain't biased with different types and brands and all that stuff. It's more associated with
right now.
how it
My
sounds.
favorite drummer is So True.
Yeah.
He sucks at drumming, but he's my favorite drummer.
Oh, I feel special.
And then
right
coming
now.
in
So you
second
can totally
is
have
Michael
a
Outlaw.
Yeah.
I'm on number 2. So you totally can have a sucky drummer and it'd be your favorite. Be the best one to play with, right?
Yeah. I mean, I love my son so much that you know.
Whatever he does, it's gonna sound
Yeah,
good.
it doesn't matter.
It's gonna resonate with you.
Yeah.
Y'all are connected.
Yeah. Now I'm
I
gonna go
couldn't
home and
say I
annoy
really
the
got a
crap out
favorite
of the
drummer.
drums.
I got so many drummers that I love, so I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's hard to say a favorite.
Yeah.
I don't have a favorite band. I don't have a favorite guitar player. I don't have a favorite drummer.
Yeah.
I just like them. I like good drummers. I like good guitar players, good singers. You know, they all wonderful to me.
Yeah.
You know, a group of musicians making beautiful music. Man,
You can't beat it.
no,
You can't beat it.
you know.
You know, that's one thing is everybody get together, especially when they can be on that same mind. I believe you can get it with a group of people, and they on that rate, you can have a song each time y'all get together. Something come up. Because you just can't hold back musicians. The creativity in the music, it just wants to flow. It just wants to flow. It's gonna come out. And a lot of times that flowing is just like a part of that emotion that is stamped in time. And it's weird, even like when you start writing music, you know, how you could really get lost in a song to the point to where you're creating that voice, that emotion that you was that you was feeling inside. It's out there now, you know.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. When you're sad, you pick up the guitar. What are you playing now? You know, and it just, I don't know. It's crazy how it, I guess, no pun intended, but resonates. You know, I love that word.
Resonate.
Just things they have to. Everything is vibrations anyhow.
Yeah.
The whole universe.
Yeah.
Everything's
That's
energy.
a favorite word for a famous drum builder. Resonate.
Yeah.
That drum resonates, doesn't it?
It does.
I love it when somebody says, "Oh, it resonates." It's like,
Yeah.
it does. That's a compliment. Because something that don't resonate, you know what that means?
Yeah.
It's dead.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah.
dead. It has nothing. Nothing at all. Well, hey guys, I want to say thank you so much for being on the show today. That's really, it's my pleasure to y'all come, and man,
we appreciate you having us, bud.
This has been great. I mean,
y'all are truly artists, and y'all musicians, man. And I just love it. I love hanging out with y'all, man. It definitely adding y'all's notes to the world,
Yeah.
man.
And we definitely look forward to you being on our podcast so we can get the word out there even more than it already is.
Bring a 6-pack.
Yep.
Bring a 6-pack.
Where's your 6-pack? You gotta have that to come in.
All right.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Love you.